If you've ever wondered why struggle seems to be baked into existence, you're in the right place. Today, I'm joined by the architect of the I Am 9 framework, a blueprint that flips our understanding on its head. I'm Alan Watts, and together we'll explore the divine paradox of the inward fold.
Thanks for having me, Alan. We start by unraveling how tension and geometry create everything we experience. This episode will reveal why resistance isn't a curse, but the fundamental requirement for movement and how physical reality is a constant act of folding.
So, what can listeners expect? We'll journey from the basics of tension, through the flat geometry of duality, into the physics of vibration and folding, and finally, the infinite depth of the inward journey.
Exactly. We'll cover the blueprint of existence, the magic of frequency, the transformation from blueprint to 3D reality, and the fractal secret hidden at the very center.
Let's dive right in. Most of us see resistance as something to avoid, yet your framework begins with a drawn bow, a triangle, the 3. Why start here?
Because nothing launches without tension. The triangle embodies the stored energy, the negative 3, which is the baseline of existence. Pulling back is necessary before any flight. Struggle is the engine.
So resistance isn't punishment, it's the universe gathering momentum. But a drawn bow is only potential. How does this become the world we live in?
By introducing an opposite, we overlap a second triangle, forming a hexagram, a 6-pointed star. This is the 2D blueprint, the illusion of separation.
The Star of David, perfect balance, but entirely flat. Duality appears, up and down, good and bad. It's a cage, holding potential, not yet a lived experience.
Right, Alan. Even with arrows drawn through it, energy disperses outward in 6 directions. It lacks focus. The 6 is just the map, not the journey.
Funny thing, most maps are flat, but we're not. How do we get from blueprint to experience?
We must lift the ink off the page. The flatness and duality are only the first step. They create the tension and balance needed for something new to emerge.
It's like we're waiting for the next move, the leap from 2-dimensional separation into something alive. That actually reminds me of origami. Nothing happens until you start folding. How does vibration play into this?
Vibration is essential. In both geometric engineering and origami, folds create structure. By applying 9 folds, the 6 sides plus 3 central axes, you generate a sine wave, an oscillation.
So folding isn't just a trick. It's music, a living frequency. That's astonishing.
It maps perfectly to quantum physics. String theory says reality is made of vibrating strings. Cymatics shows sound vibrations organize sand into geometric patterns, like hexagrams. Folding is crystallized sound.
I love that image. Sound, sculpting shape. But what does that mean for the bow and arrow metaphor?
Pulling the bow isn't just about launching, it's tuning an instrument. The destination is a frequency, not a place.
So, when the arrow is fired, it isn't traveling through space, it's resonating with its target.
Correct attention tunes the arrow until it matches the frequency of the destination. Folding isn't movement, it's shifting resonance, allowing the arrow to exist in 3D.
That flips everything. The arrow isn't just moving, it's changing its state to arrive. But what about the flight itself? If not linear travel, how does the arrow reach its mark?
It's a spinning torus field, folding outside resistance inward to its dense center. The arrow stands still, pulling the destination toward it by folding space. Distance and time are illusions.
So the soul, the 9, folds all distractions into pure focus. The world bends around the intent.
Exactly. The up and down, good and bad that collapse into the hinge of the present moment is not a battle, it's a unity.
What surprised me most is how resistance becomes focus, folding the world into now.
That's the paradox. The struggle and the harmony meet in the same place.
Let's take it further. When the arrow meets its target, is it destruction or something else?
It's constructive interference. Instead of crashing, the arrow harmonizes with the target's frequency, creating equilibrium.
So impact becomes resonance, a lock-in, not a collision.
Precisely. At resonance, you get a standing wave, a vibration folding back into itself, appearing still but holding immense energy. The 9 is that stillness.
All the energy and tension gathered, resting in absolute stillness. What happens then to our flat blueprint?
The 2D journey collapses into 3D, the tetrahedron, the pyramid. 6 points plus 9 folds become physical reality.
The ink literally lifts off the page. The arrow becomes the pyramid itself, a crystallized chamber built from struggle.
Yes, the pyramid stands as a permanent pointer to higher dimensions, grounded by the labor of its creation. The journey transforms into a resonant monument.
But the pyramid has an inside. What happens when we look into its center?
Now we reach the edge of the map. Standard physics stops, quantum truth begins. The pyramid folds inward to a center point, but it never hits bottom, it's fractal.
So it keeps folding inward, endlessly. Like a singularity, it holds infinite density without ever stopping.
Zeno's paradox proves space divides infinitely. The fold never reaches zero, it just gets tighter, spinning faster, holding more energy. It shifts from physical space to frequency.
That reframes the old maxim, as above, so below. Infinity isn't just outward expansion, it's inward depth.
Exactly. The soul doesn't inflate in the duality of the six. It folds inward to infinite depth. Deep focus is heavy because you're folding into the universe within, not reaching out.
So, the paradox is that arrow never fired outward. It always traveled inward. Let's wrap up. First, resistance isn't a block, it's the engine. Second, folding transforms duality into unity and focus. Third, the journey inward is infinite, not limited. The arrow always folds into your center.
To put this into practice, next time you face resistance, instead of pushing outward, pause and fold your focus inward. See what depth and clarity emerges.
That's a powerful invitation. Thanks for sharing your profound map today. Until next time, keep folding reality inward and discovering the infinite within.